Yeah, no, okay. Glad I decided to check that. Okay. How am I sounding right now? Okay, that sounds pretty good. Now I just gotta turn on the BGM. And how does the BGM sound? Okay. Okay, that's looking good. Audio levels look pretty solid. Okay. And now just gotta go back here. Oh, that's an interesting little thing there. Now I gotta fix this. Okay. Sorry about the scuff. But that's part of what makes the VTuber and hobby journey just so interesting. Pretty sure I can just... Yeah, okay, alright. That should be fine. Alright. Yo, welcome back to stream. I am Hermit Bounce. God, I am very low energy right now. Let's see. One moment, gotta hydrate. Alright. Alright, hello everyone. Good morning or time zone. I am Hermit Bounce, and you chose an interesting time to stop by if this is your first stream, because I'll be wrapping up a project today. Okay. With that being said, just as like a brief recap, I had a friend pick up this model kit right here for the Blue Eyes White Dragon. They're not much of a model kit builder, but I am. Oh lord, actually one sec. I forgot to make a post somewhere. Okay. Sorry about that. Just needed to check on something real quick. Okay. Alright. So yeah, today I'll be wrapping up Blue Eyes White Dragon. All I have left are the arms, the wings, and technically the base. Okay, so I'm gonna need
I know I'm gonna need G eventually. The last two polycaps are for the arms. H, this. Okay. Okay. So that's outside of the wings, that's basically everything, right? Outside of the wings and the stand. Okay. Okay, so for now, I'm going to be working on H. Okay. $14, $13, $15. 14, 18, 15. God, there's something so liberating about being able to just, like, be rough with these initial cuts and not having to worry about making precision cuts for the initial just to get them off the runner. It's so nice. Okay. But yeah, some things have happened. Nothing crazy. I have a test that I need to take coming up really soon to get certified, and I haven't been studying. Such is the woes of being a procrastinator. Okay, so they want it like so. Okay. Like that. And then just trying to give this a little bit more strength, because I don't know how my friend is going to end up handling this model kit afterwards. He's going to want to pose it, and I don't want it falling apart on him. Okay. Before I forget. Okay. Uh-oh. I blew that part away. Okay. Then PC7. Next, they want H 9 and 10. But yeah, just as an update on the games I've been playing, I haven't been playing that much Megaton Musashi, admittedly. Nothing wrong with the game, it's just I find myself being drawn more to playing Dead Island 2. And I probably came off as having some more negative vibes going into it, and I will fully admit that yeah, I did. There were just some things I was concerned about going in, because again, Dead Island 1 tried to touch on a really hard subject to touch on and then didn't do a good job. And that was oh lord, how long ago was that? It was years at this point. It was years ago. And this is one of those things where American culture has shifted so much since then, to where the attempt alone would be enough to cause problems if they were to try to make the exact same thing today. You know? Especially if they did a bad job of portraying it, as they did the first time around. Again, I'm being vague because there's a depiction of SA, and it's just not done well. Again, I like the depiction of those subjects in a proper context, right? Because horror games are meant to be able to tackle subjects that are, initially considered taboo to look at or whatnot, and they do so hopefully in a tasteful manner. So I wanted to give the writers, whoever's writing Dead Island 2, some, a chance to see if they could do a better job than the writers of Dead Island 1. And so far, I haven't hit a point in the story where I feel amazed by the writing. But I at least don't feel offended by it. There's nothing about the writing that feels bad from what I've seen so far, aside from some of the characters just being modern characters. You have this one character, I don't know his name, but I've gotten a little bit of a taste of different characters that I'm not playing because of how the co-op works in that game. I can just kind of hop into games with my friends, they're all playing different characters, and I get to hear some of their dialogue lines, right? And so you have the freaking SoundCloud rapper dude, and he has his lines, they're fine. The character that I picked, she's this Asian woman with a prosthetic leg, right? And she's very action driven, right? She's an athlete. And so a lot of her dialogue is actually like fitting for her character, where she, like, spoilers for like side content, there's a straight up streamer house depicted in the game, right? Like offline TV kind of a streamer house and stuff, and it's called the Goat Den. And like there's one quest, like side quest, where like you have to help a streamer make some like footage, because she's a streamer, and so she's like, well, I want to keep making content even in the apocalypse, even if, like, you know, the government's trying to take down my like videos and stuff. I'm not gonna let them not let me make videos. So she like records you killing a bunch of zombies, knocking them off roofs and stuff, doing like certain objectives, and different characters will have like different responses. One character I remember is just kind of like making fun of her the entire time because she's a delusional streamer, whereas the character that I was playing, the Asian athlete, she was fucking all for it. Oh, she was so excited to be able to do stuff to get her like time on stream. Oh lord, wait, hold on. Okay, so they want it like this, then I think like so, right? Okay, and then they wanted, what piece was the cap? E7? E7. Okay. So at that, like, I do want to like just give my critique of the game so far. I don't know how far in I am, but like the game is like showing more and more sauce, and the actual like combat and gameplay is progressively improving as the game goes on, which is again, like I'm pretty sure I like touched on it in like another game, in another stream, but that is a massive improvement over the feeling that the first game had, where like, yes, you're unlocking more abilities, but like you didn't feel like you were getting stronger. Now there's still a little bit of that in here, but the skills that you're getting make such a difference that you do feel that you're getting stronger, even if you don't necessarily have the stats to match it in the moment. Okay, 31, 32. Another thing that I have to like compliment the game about is guns don't feel awful. So for example, in Dead Island 1, guns had very restricted ammo. Guns made a lot of noise, so it aggroed enemies from further away. And the only real reason why you would want to use a gun is because it doesn't matter the stats of the gun. If I remember correctly, as long as you landed a headshot against a human enemy, it was a guaranteed one-hit kill. Because Dead Island 1 had human enemies. Now, so far into Dead Island 2, my character's like level 18, if if I recall correctly from last night. Despite being level 18, I haven't ran into a single, like, actual human enemy. Everything so far has been a zombie, and that has been a much better experience. Because I don't have to have these weird, forced, like, gunfights where guns don't feel that great. And I have to specifically go for headshots or else I'm wasting ammo. And so, with guns being how they are in this game, guns are moddable. So that's a whole layer that feels just way better than it used to. Again, I don't have to worry about human enemies, so I don't need to conserve ammo. Oh my lord. Hold on. I'm just having trouble snapping this one part together. Why is this being so difficult? Okay. This part's gonna need some cleanup. Okay. Okay, there we go. It's a bit more like it. Okay. And then there's 3 spikes from G that go on that one. One of them, 12, 13, 14. 12, 13, 14, got it. Okay. But yeah, guns, they feel like they have their use. They actually do, like, decent damage. Now that I think about it, there's another change that, like, completely alleviated a problem that I had in the first game that I just kind of thought about. In Dead Island 1, right, you had your cast of characters and each one had kind of like a play style dedicated to them, right? Yo, sup, Omar? And so, like, you had the character who liked using, like, big hammers and blunt weapons, right? You had the guy who was really good at throwing things and got a lot of buffs for, like, throwing weapons, right? You had a girl who dealt a lot of damage with sharp weapons and who could cut limbs really well. And then you had this one girl who she has a lot of, like, good takedowns, but all of her buffs are to using guns. And you don't get guns until, like, halfway through the game. Right? And then the buffs to the guns don't make the guns useful. And because of how restrictive ammo is, it just kind of hampers and burdens itself. So, unless there's a lot of, like, depth to the game that I didn't explore, she feels like she's objectively just the worst character because she doesn't get to benefit from some of her skills until halfway through the game. And by that point, the guns aren't even that great to begin with. So, like, every other character is just stronger doing their own thing than she is by the time she can do her own thing. There's, like, a fear that the guns were going to be too much because they let you deal with the zombies from, like, far away. And then they became, like, super underwhelming outside of, like, if you were to fight with like, other human enemies. Okay. So this one goes here. and the other two are facing down. Okay. Now, that complaint that I had about the first game is just kind of absent in the second one completely, and I'm so happy about that. Because in the second Dead Island, your builds are based on these cards, and while you do get cards that are like character specific, you just unlock them eventually for other characters. So you get to blend cards from different characters to create builds. So while characters do have like a dedicated playstyle that's for them, the like it is up to you whether you want to like follow through with that specific playstyle or not, right? Like I could all in on the fact that the character I'm playing does like bonus to like throw weapons, like disposable throw weapons and whatnot, or I could focus on some of the other aspects like the flying kick or the drop kick being like a incentive for me to use certain non-weapon related moves, which is so nice. Such a gameplay improvement. Again, I'm not 100% sold on some of the characters, and that's fine, but I don't hate the character I'm playing right now. Okay. And so, like, despite me starting off with an initial, like, kind of negative impression going into the game, I now have a much higher appreciation for it. And I'm kind of curious where they're going to go with some of the story beats. Some other gameplay changes that I like. Now, I made a comment about hit registry from the zombies, and I'll admit that is still something I feel. Especially if you do drop kicks a lot. In the first game, like jump kicking felt extremely important. At least it was extremely important in my playthrough of the game. Just because like it was a way to crowd control, and it was something that you could do kind of quickly, and the utility of the jump kick in the first game just felt too good, right? Which had like the problem with it being too good was that the enemies weren't able to like kind of make up for it in other ways, right? But with the zombie variety in Dead Island 2, like some of those things aren't as prevalent, right? So like I can't just jump kick my way to survival. The jump kicking is still a very good tool, especially because I'm rocking the drop kick right now. And the drop kick is very strong in like its ability to knock down enemies, but you can't knock down all enemy variants. And that's probably like one of the major like defining like characteristics are for some of the combat in this game. It's probably like way better balanced than the first game. Okay, I need E. Then it says 8 and 9. Okay. But yeah, like because like by habit, like jump kicking is something that I use a lot. I was running into a issue where like a zombie would flail its arm and then it would hit my leg as I jump kicked, and that would register as a hit against me. And while it makes sense, like my brain goes video game Y, and then I'm upset. Admittedly, right? It didn't help that at the time there are sometimes zombies that are like over leveled for the zone they're in, and this is usually to kind of denote that it's a little bit of a special zombie, not in like what it can do, but in that it holds like keys to like a special item stash. So you have to kill them if you want access to the item stash and whatever treasure they might have there. But to get it, if you want to get it in that moment at that time, you need to overcome the hurdle that is a zombie that can more or less one-shot you. And so as a result of me being like jump kick happy, I had died multiple times in what felt like a very unfair way of I landed this jump kick, ergo the zombie should be knocked down, but for some reason I'm being hit before the zombie gets knocked down. And like animation wise, it doesn't look great when it happens, so it feels unpolished, even though I feel that's intended as just a way to make sure that the jump kicks and the drop kicks aren't too strong. Okay, so it'd be like so. But yeah, I got over that like mental hurdle and skill hurdle, and because like I'm starting to like understand more of the character, and some of the other skills that I'm unlocking are like really interesting, and there's some gameplay features that are new that are kind of like just kind of rebalanced versions of something else from the older games, just better achieved. Like I have a very genuinely positive take of Dead Island 2 now, and I'm happy that I do. Wait, that doesn't... It's like so. Great. It's like that, right? Little T-Rexy arms. Alright, doesn't look too bad. Alright. Okay. On other news, I have a weird history with becoming very engrossed with a certain like manga or anime franchise or series, being super into it, being very like actively suggesting that people get into it to like check it out and stuff, right? and then I'll be talking to someone who like kind of knows what I'm talking about, and then they'll be the ones to tell me, oh yeah, isn't that getting a part 2, or isn't that getting a part 3? And I'll just be like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean the thing that I feel so passionate about is, why am I the last one to hear about this kind of thing? And I feel it started with Zatch Bell. Zatch Bell was like a anime that like I was super into as a kid. And like over time, like I revisited it. And Zatch Bell's writer, I think his name was Raikou something. Dude's probably like one of my favorite writers. Next to the guy who wrote Onani Master Kurosawa, or I think maybe his more popular recent work is the Destroy All of Humanity Can't Be Regenerated, which is the Magic the Gathering romance. But yeah, Raikou, the guy who wrote Zatch Bell, if I'm getting his name right. He wrote some other manga like Animal Country. Animal Country is like really interesting. Vector Ball is something I want to go back to and read properly, because Vector Ball is like very much in his like art style. But like there's like some weird legal like hole that Zatch Bell fell into because of the manga like licensing, right? Because the manga licensing went to Tokyo Pop for a while, and then Tokyo Pop didn't want to give it back or something like that. I don't remember the full story, but he lost the rights to his own creation for a while, and he finally got it back, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna make a Zatch Bell 2. And this was going on like right when I started to like kind of talk more about Zatch Bell to my friends that I was making through like VTuber Discord servers. And someone was like, yeah, isn't there a Zatch Bell 2? And I thought he was fucking lying to me. But nah, fucking sure enough, Zatch Bell 2 was a thing. And it was only like 5 chapters in, and I read those 5 chapters like 10 times because it made me cry with how beautiful his art had gotten. And he never forgot what made Zatch Bell, the like manga series, Zatch Bell. He never lost sight of it. And like it felt like even after all these years, he had always been writing Zatch Bell. All of his heart had been put into that manga, and now that he's able to make Zatch Bell 2, like everything was perfect. The return of the characters, how they meet each other again, you know, the introduction of the bad guys, the fact that there's probably some hidden truth to the bad guys, maybe not all being like awful. Like it's Zatch Bell, and I was so happy about Zatch Bell being back and still being Zatch Bell, or Gash Bell if you are familiar with the non-American porting. Sorry, the non-Western porting, because the word gash is considered a inappropriate word in Europe, if I remember correctly, referring to, I believe, female genitalia, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so they translated it and they called it Zatch instead of Gash. because languages are funny and how they interact when you translate or localize, air quote, depending on what part of the translation sequence you're kind of talking about. But yeah, that being said, yeah, Zatch Bell 2 was something that I was like very passionate about, very into, and it keeps impressing me. The release schedule is a bit slower. I think it's like one chapter every month or two, depending. But I'm not hurt by it because the artists that are working on that series, they are flexing their muscles, man. Like, admittedly, Zatch Bell is kind of hard to get into because of the art initially. But as time goes on, the art kind of figures itself out and becomes a distinct style that you become familiar with and you start to like. You start to feel comfortable looking at its characters and how they're drawn the way they are. And you look at Zatch Bell 2, and they didn't lose that art style, but they've improved, and they want you to know that they have the sauce. Like, their backgrounds are so beautiful. Like, they've drawn some like really interesting fantasy settings that I don't want to talk about because they're spoilers. And that's probably the part that hurts the most. Zatch Bell 2 is probably like one of the things I want to gush about the most, but I have no one to gush about it to, because I don't want to spoil anything on the off chance that, you know, they try it. And I can't talk about Zatch Bell 2 because it's a sequel to Zatch Bell 1. And there are certain aspects of Zatch Bell 2 that are still tied to Zatch Bell 1 that are important. And I'm going through that exact kind of motion again. One of my favorite card games is also a manga and anime series called Wicross, or Wicross, right? And the best way I could put it is it's a card game anime, right? I think I remember hearing it being labeled in Japan as a Bishoujo card game, where all the cards kind of depict like beautiful women and beautiful girls. Which, I mean, yeah. But despite it being that way, the actual like anime and manga I feel are fantastic, because it's a card game thing where, like, yes, they're using the card game to kind of like push the story forward, but it's not about the players playing the game, it's about the players as characters. And so the duels, while they have like a lot of weight to them, right, in terms of like how important the stakes are, the pacing doesn't get ruined or stuck on the actual game portion of the thing, right? And it instead kind of focuses on the more Madoka Magica style like writing, where like it's very magical girl inspired, where things can go wrong. And will go wrong. And it's such a good series, but I can't talk about it, and I can't introduce people to the card game without having them finish the anime first. At least I don't want to do it that way, right? The anime
is spoiled by the card game in certain kind of important ways. And I don't mean in the same way as like the One Piece card game, right? Like the One Piece card game, I was thinking about getting into One Piece. Like, let me just go on this tangent real quick. I was thinking about getting into One Piece, right? And I was aware of one spoiler of a character dying, right? And then I see a card that kind of spoiled a character returning. And I talked to a friend about it, and he's like, yeah, you got spoiled by the card game. And, like, granted, a lot of the art from the card game, if I remember correctly, are, like, actual, like, panels from the, like, manga and stuff like that, right? And that's fine. I don't really care about that. But, like, for Witcross, it's a bit different in that some of those cards are, like, character spoilers. Like character arc spoilers. And it's interesting. Yeah. So this creates this really interesting thing where I want to introduce people to the card game because maybe they'll like the card game more, right, than the actual anime. But because of the idea of introducing them to the card game, maybe they'll be interested in watching the anime. And if they watch the anime after playing the card game, they'll be spoiled on some stuff, right? Like, why certain characters are on certain cards is, like, a spoiler, right? But, like, there's a lot of interesting aspects and rules of the card game, the flavor of the card game, that are straight up just spoilers in the fucking anime. It is so interestingly written that the name of the ban list is technically a spoiler. Like, let that sink in. The name of the ban list. The ban list has a name because of flavor. The flavor of that name is technically a spoiler. That's fucking wild. And there's some other interesting, like, stuff and terminology that are also very spoiler heavy, which you wouldn't want to kind of subject people to. Now, granted, this was fixed for a short while. Because essentially, like, you had Witcross Season 1, right? Then you had... God, this is gonna be weird. You had Witcross Series 1, which followed, like, a certain set of characters, right? Then you had Witcross Series 2, which had some returning cast, but also, like, focused on some new characters, right? So that's great. At that point, I would consider both of those, like, eras of the card game to, like, have spoilers. Afterwards, they went into something called Diva format because they released a new series called Diva Alive, which a bit controversial, right? I'm sure some people loved it. I'm sure some people missed the old dark tones of the original series of series 1 and 2. But, like, that was the one time where I felt like I could introduce people to the card game without, like, having to worry about the cards being spoilers for the story that I cared about, so to speak. And that just kind of, like, brings me to the impetus of, like, why I'm even talking about this stuff to begin with. And it's that Witcross is back, baby. I am so excited. They put out a trailer for a third, like, a proper third season
that's kind of like a Wicross Shippuden based on like what they were showing off. So like a lot of the characters are older at this point, but there's some interesting details in the trailer that had me like my brain is rolling. I like my cheeks hurt so much thinking about it because they did some very choice how do I put this? Choice use of like positional symbolism. And that has me fucking excited. There is a chance that some characters are going to be swapping roles, and that I find that super interesting. And I am on cloud 9. I am so excited. All I wanted was more Wicross that was a little bit more like the Modica Magica, right, where it had its dark undertones, because the writing with those dark undertones was just very good. Diva Live has its problems. It has some really good art direction, but it wasn't as compelling of a story for me, which is very unfortunate. So this is like a return to form where the characters are going to act like the characters again, and I'm so excited. When I wrap this up, I'm going to be hopping into Discord, and I'm going to be doing a watch along with some friends to try to get them caught up for it, because of how like actively excited I am for the return of Wicross. And that'll probably get me buying into the card game again. Because while I love the card game, I wasn't buying into it. Even after they did a return thing. Oh, sup Shoddy. So after this stream, because I'm wrapping this kit up. There was an announcement in the duo leveling server about how I'm going to be hosting a watch along for a series called Wicross. I'm just going to be binging it like all day today and tomorrow. Because Wicross got announced to have a season 3, like a proper season 3, instead of the mixed kind of controversial Diva Alive kind of like spin-off thing that they tried. And so in my excitement, I just want to kind of relive those moments of rewatching the entire thing. And if people want to stop by in that duo leveling server who are kind of like already there to just watch, like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be there all day just watching it. I'm not sure if I want to do subbed or dubbed yet, because the subs are good and people like subs. The dub is also really good, and it's how I experienced it my first time. And a part of me just wants to kind of just go through it again, because the voice acting is just genuinely not bad. It has its little janky moments, but it's not the worst. But yeah, Wicross, Dead Island 2 have like mostly filled the time in between. I also got to see Dune 2, Part 2, rather, and that's a good movie. I liked Dune 2. I'm excited for Dune 3. Because this, I don't know. This feels like I'm watching Star Wars again as like a kid, and I'm kind of happy about that. I still haven't caught up to Nagatoro now that I think about it. Right now, my brain is just racing on the manga that I need to catch up on. Zatch Bell 2 probably had a new chapter come out, and I want to give Zatch Bell its more than earned time in the light. Speaking of manga getting time in the light, I heard another manga that I'm really into is getting animated, and I'm kind of scared. The manga has a very distinct art style, and it would be a shame if that was lost in the animation process. And it doesn't help that the best way I could describe this manga that I'm talking about right now, the manga is called Ubelblatt, or Black Blade. I think that's supposed to be like German or something like that. Dark Blade. Anyways, Ubelblatt. It's Diet Berserk, right? And like some people will go, "Oh, it's diet, so it's not as good." It's like no. That it's like Berserk is so over the top and crazy, right? That if something is a little bit more reined in, then it's not necessarily bad, right? It's the idea of calling Kengan Ashura diet Baki, right? In that, like, yes, Baki is like ludicrously insane, but something that is kind of diet to that is still kind of insane, but it doesn't lose as much as people would think by it being air quotes diet. Right? Is that how it's supposed to be? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. These parts point downward. Wait. Okay, hold on. I just realized that I need to change this up. Yeah, it can stand on its own. That might change when I add the wings. Emphasis on might. Because the wings are going to add a lot of weight. At the same time, you could probably use the weight of the wings to help balance it in other ways. So it should still be fine that it can stand on its own. But again, this comes with a stand that you can use for opposing it. So it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, hold on. I need... Sure. Okay. For now, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so next we're going to be moving on to the wings. Okay. So it'll be these two runners, the leftover of the frame parts in H. It'll be this right here, which is just a clear like stand. And lastly, these weird blue like film parts. Okay. I might even reward myself for some delivery today. I prepped some shredded chicken just so I could have something I could throw on a burrito. But like at the same time, I don't want to cook any more than I already have today. So I might just lazy out. Maybe order some Taco Bell, depending. 7 and 6. 7 and 6. I'm also excited. On the 9th or 10th, I believe, a indie game that I'm like very passionate about, or an indie developer, an indie developer that I'm kind of passionate about, is releasing their game, Rabbit and Steel, and I'm very excited for a couple of reasons. So I'm not the best at playing like shmups or bullet hell games, right? Like Toho is a game that I respect immensely from a distance, just because like actually playing the game is kind of rough, right? You know, typical Toho fan doesn't play Toho games, you know. But this one dev, I can't think of their name off the top of my head, but they made a game called Maiden and Spell, right? And the idea is they kind of like simplified some of the Toho element. Simplified maybe like a bad like representation of it, but they took the Toho idea, right? And they kind of like made it a fighting game. And I thought that was a really cool idea. Despite it being, you know, fighting game themed, right? There's still like a story mode that you can play through that functions like an actual story mode. And it kind of acts like a boss rush almost. So you kind of skip out the levels that lead up to that are mostly lead up to what is essentially the like big flamboyant very over the top like boss fight, right? Yeah. So Maiden and Spell is Toho, but kind of like a boss rush, and a fighting game. And so I was like, man, this game is really cool. The art style is so cute. The music is really nice. The writing is adorable and so wholesome. And then they're like, yeah, I'm working on a new game. And I'm like, oh, yo, cool. What is it? And they revealed a demo for it. And the best way it can be described is like they looked at Toho and went like, sorry, they looked at Final Fantasy 14 and its boss encounters and went like, what if we made that but as like a Toho game with roguelike elements, and it's just this really silly premise that they were able to make it work. The playable demo that has working online, which in and of itself as a sentence is fucking insane, just like proved the proof of like it proved the proof of concept, right? That it was more than just a silly idea, and that there's actually sauce there. And it's so fun. So like some of the mechanics where like you have to gather or you have to like split apart the air quote roles with buffing, debuffing, healing, and all that stuff, like that's there. They were able to translate a lot of that stuff like almost seamlessly, and it's so entertaining. Each of the character classes, despite it being a Toho style bullet hell shmup game, the characters have their own distinct play styles with like ability rotations, and that's not factoring in any of the actual rogue-like elements. So it's just so insane, and it's such a high quality like game and effort, and I'm so happy. And it's almost out. It's like the 9th or 10th it drops. And because it's themed, the game is themed after the idea of like an MMO RPG, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14 style like raid thing. There's a fucking world first for beating the game on the hardest difficulty with a party of 4. Which is so damn silly and amazing. Oh, man. A lot of good has happened this year. I got Armored Core 6. I got to play Dead Island 2. Zatch Bell 2 kept going. Nagatoro supposedly has finally finished, and I need to read that ending at some point. Wicross 3 is a thing. It's real. It's tangible. And it's Wicross Shippuden. So all the characters that I'm a big fan of, I get to see their glow-ups as they've gotten older. Ah, man. This has been a good year. Oh crud, this one's gonna be a bit weird. So I have not played any of the Godzilla games. There was one game called, I believe it's called Toribosh. I would have to do like a quick check. Hold on. And Toribosh was like, I think like a spiritual, like successor style kind of thing. Hold on. Toribosh. No, it wasn't Toribosh. It was, oh man. Toribosh was a weird, like, physics fighting game. I can't remember the name of it. But I played a game that was supposed to be, like, similar to those games. And the idea is that, like, some of the characters are, like, legally distinct stand-ins. Like, they had their own version of Jet Jaguar. They had their own legally distinct other characters. And then there was also that other kaiju beat-em-up game that I remember having for a while, but I don't remember that one either. Yeah, I think it was Giga Bash. Hold on. Yeah, Giga Bash. I remember touching this game kind of briefly. Sorry. No, that is a lie. I never touched Giga Bash. I had a friend who I watched play Giga Bash for a while. So there was Giga Bash, and actually I could probably just check my Steam library and find the other game I was talking about. Yeah, and like based on like some of the images that I saw, they also like added some Ultraman stuff. Yeah. And like I'm gonna be completely real. I'm slowly getting into Ultraman. It's very slow. And like most of it is just because like one of the I think it's Ultraman Nexus. Ultraman Nexus was like something that I felt was like super important. Sorry, not important, but like okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. So what was it? Ultraman Nexus. The opening for that song AU it's like DO the group was like DOA, and I think the song was like AU Sha or something like that. Yeah, AU Sa. That song is it does so much to my brain. There are a lot of banger like Japanese like openings and shit like that, right? That's the one I want to learn. That's the one that like I'm gonna show up to karaoke. No one's gonna know what's going on. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you're picking Ultraman," and I just go, "Ayusa, yeah." That song just does so much to my brain, and I love it so much. But I have to learn it. Nande. Like, it still blows my mind that like for example, like some of the HoloLive VTubers are actually like major like tokusatsu fans. And like there was actually a performance where I think it was Fubuki, Watame, and I can't remember the name of the Dark Elf girl. The three of them did Ayusa. And they did it as like a 3-dimensional performance too. So it was like particularly like really cool. Ayusa. No, I'm serious. Like, hold on. I like just found it the other day. Also the other game. Oh, you already found it. Yeah. The other game I was talking about is like a side-scroller beat 'em up called Dawn of the Monsters. And that one's also like very kaiju themed. It's really good. But I don't know. I'm not into that genre as much, despite loving tokusatsu and stuff. So like I couldn't. I bought it. I really like it. I'm not gonna play it. Just gonna be real. Like, there's nothing wrong with the game from what I played. It's just, yeah, it's not really my thing. So, how does this work? They want it to be like this. This goes like that. Then this goes like... What the hell? This goes like so... Like that. And then like so. Okay. So now that I have that, that's supposed to be like the skeleton of the wing. Oh god. have these weird vinyl pieces. Oh lord. Dude, like that's the beauty of like karaoke, dude. It's not about like how well you sing the song, it's about putting your like heart and soul into it. It's all about the vibe, in my opinion. Oh god, wait, so how does this work? Okay, so oh wait, what? Okay, so this goes here. Like wait, no, it's supposed to be wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, so like okay, hold on. That's right. This like that. Okay, hold on. Okay, so far, and then oh lord. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna need my X-Acto knife for this. Because there are perforations in the wings that aren't like fully cut open. Oh lord. Just gotta open up some of these more rubbery parts. Okay. It's hard to describe. Like, there's a little bit of a rubbery like feel to it. I am having so much trouble being able to describe this material. It smells. It smells like a pool store. As weird as that may sound. And I don't necessarily mean like the chemicals at a pool store, but like the material, the like rubbery material they'd make like some of the inner tubes out of. Okay, I think I did that. So, oh god. Okay, so they want it like this. Oh, Lord. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try. It's hard getting this on the camera. but like... Oh wait, hold on. Wait, do I even have the right wing? Wait, where did I even put the other wing? Oh no. Okay, hold on. Okay. Alright. They did put something to help you tell the difference. Okay, good. I do have the right wing. Okay. Rough surface on the front, smooth on the back. Got it. Okay, so I do have it right. Okay, so... Okay, so like that. And then this one is... Okay, so it's like something like this. Is like how that's supposed to go on, which is very strange. Okay. Okay, now I need, let's see, 11. Well, that went flying. C6. Okay. And then which G4? just cleaning up some of this wing now. Yo, what's up, Dumpling? Oh, this wing is gonna be quite the trip. Yeah, I already have the legs done so far. Sorry, by legs I mean the arms. I finished the legs like the other day. So I'm looking to trying to finish this up today before I do that wick cross thing for the rest of today and tomorrow. Because tomorrow I'm gonna set that morning aside to do like cleaning and stuff. Oh, this is so finicky. Okay. So there's a lot of good food that I've had throughout my life, and a lot of good food that I passed up on because my baby stomach, being a spoiled brat stomach, was like, no, I don't want to eat fish. No, you can't make me eat the fish from the sea. When I was younger, but like I got over that. So like there's some fish food, like fish, that I want to try out when I go to the Philippines later. But like I really like yellowtail. And I can't even say I like yellowtail. I think it's because of Zatch Bell. I'm gonna be completely honest. I genuinely think that the reason why I like yellowtail, I believe it's tuna or salmon, it's one of the two. The reason why I like it is because of Zatch Bell. That thing of like, oh, the thing I like as a kid does the thing, so therefore I must like it kind of mentality. Okay. There's that. Okay, so but I've been doing more cooking lately. I really like curry, like Japanese style curry. Really? It's supposed to be like that? Yeah, it is. Okay. And there's other like spicy foods that I want to try out. Like that super spicy ramen thing. I eat that like normally now. Okay. So, and then they want you to do this. Okay, hold on. Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that I'm genuinely considering like ordering out tonight or today rather, I probably would make some because I have like some of the like super spicy stuff just sitting on a shelf. Okay. I haven't tried the Samyang triple spicy. I would like to try it. I'm thinking of like Bulldog times 2 black, I think is like the thing I'm thinking of. Okay. Shit. I didn't want to click that in yet. Okay. Okay, but this was the part that I remember hearing about. Okay. So for this, I'm gonna go a bit heavier. I'm gonna have to take you up on that offer sometime, Omar, because that sounds like a good time. Okay. Alright, so far so good. Man, I need to get my hands on some extra cement so I can make some like plastic slurry. Because one of the things that you can do to kind of deal with what they call the seam line, which is that little black line that shows that it's 2 parts, is you can take your like little extra like nub mark bits like these, put them in a container with the plastic cement, and it'll melt down the plastic just enough to make it kind of like almost a paste, and you can use it to seal up these lines, and then when it dries out, it'll bind it just like cement would, and then it's just a matter of like sanding it down. So it's kind of like doing the job of putty at the same time. That should be good for the most part. I might try to fill in some of those lines with the like putty, depending on how that looks later. Okay, so once I'm done with that, 9, 3, 2. Nine. Three. Two. I wonder what I should order for lunch, actually. Like, the main problem is that I don't want to leave the house. So that takes out like any like place that I would go to that I would use a coupon at, like Burger King. Because where I'm at, there's a coupon that's like for $20, right? 20 good old smackaroos in USD. You get like 3 whole ass Whoppers, 3 like normal, like just hamburgers, and then like 3 medium fries. It's like a family deal, and I'm just like, that's really nice. But that's not an option if I order out. And part of me is thinking Wendy's. But I have a bad history with ordering from the Wendy's that's like up the street. And that the driver, depending on like what service I'm using, will like just fucking steal my food. Oh, dude, coupons are like so good. Like, I get why my like grandma was like so obsessed with them when I was younger. Because like I've tried to do shopping without like coupons or any discounts, and that shit is just awful. It's such an awful experience. Sometimes it's just about being that bargain hunter. Okay, hold on, wait, so which one's which? One. Okay. this one is supposed to be like so. Then we have this one that is like so. Oh, this one also has one of those. Little hatches. Okay. Okay. It's like that. And then for this one, it would be like so. All right, Dumpling, have a good time with your curry. Okay. Yeah, dumplings and curry. Name a more iconic duo. Al Pastor. Oh man. You had to bring up the Al Pastor. God. Al Pastor is so good, dude. I love me spiced meats. Okay. Alright guys, remember to do your hydration and posture checks. Yeah, okay. Okay. And then this will be the last for this wing. For a moment I thought about maybe ordering Hardee's, but or Carl's Jr., depending on where you're from. That one still blows my mind, actually, that Hardee's and Carl's Jr. in the States are like the same place, but they have different names just depending on like what state you're in. You see, that's the problem, Shadi. Like, I'm in the mood for burgers. Because, like, all I've eaten in, like, the past, like, 3-4ish weeks has been, like, chicken and pork. Right? So I'm just, like, craving... Ah, damn. I love lamb so much. Lamb is probably, like, my favorite meat. But, like... It's just... It falls in line with that thing where, like, some of my favorite animals in this world are, like, so delicious, man. Like... I love squids. I love octopi, calamari, and like just like cooked tentacles. Oh man, I love it. I love that stuff. Can't get enough of it. Right? Lambs and the like, the freaking mutton and like just lamb chops. Oh, some of my favorite like food out there, man. Like gyros. Oh man, so good. But like again, like I get some of that residual guilt of like eating what are essentially like some of my favorite animals on this planet. Chickens, don't care. Beef, like, okay, granted, I like cows. I think they're great, but they're not like in my top 10 favorite animals on this planet, you know. But then like I look at like a goat, I'm like, man, you're adorable. I hate that you're so delicious. So like oysters are another thing, like, because like I was so like I grew up being very like spoiled in like not wanting to eat like any seafood because I didn't like the texture. Oysters were something that like I never really got into eating, so like I bet they're delicious, but I as a child would gag the moment I would taste, not taste, but like feel the texture. Okay. Okay. Alright, so this is one of the wings down. Okay, so let's smooth some of this over. Okay. Yeah, so like I kind of get the whole idea that you're not supposed to chew the oyster, you're supposed to like swallow it whole, right? But like I had such a reaction to seafood that like the moment it like entered my mouth, I would gag, right? Like no taste, no texture, like it was just like because I knew it was seafood, I was like predisposed to thinking that I was gonna hate it, kind of thing. Um, in the Philippines, there's actually like a thing where if I remember correctly, like how it was explained to me by like family while I was there, is that to practice kissing as like a joke, right? They had these snails that they would cook up, and then you would just they would cook the snail in the shell, right? And then you would put your mouth on the opening of the shell, and then you would like give it a kiss, and it would, by doing that, like you would suck the snail out of the shell, like the fully cooked snail. Okay, that's 1800, 9,000, 1500. I haven't. Um, I haven't tried any of those like scorpion lollipop things. I've seen them around. Um, it's. I bet they're fine, right? It's just like the idea of seeing the scorpion and like putting that in my mouth, that I'm not the greatest feeling about. I understand that they're fine, and like they kind of have to be fine, or else they wouldn't be able to sell those. But like, I can't do it, man. Okay. Okay. One of the things I do want to give another try are like the cactus candies, because I remember having them like once because I went on a trip, and I thought they were like really nice as like just like a little snack, and a little like they're still like a sweet kind of thing, and a little bit of sour, but yeah. Okay, now I have to do that again for the other wing. And I'm just gonna have that wing set aside, that way I can add both wings at the same time. Okay. So And with that, I'm done with the H runner. The last of the G runner. I have a lot of cleaning I need to get working on, though. I have family showing up in the middle of the week, and I have an assortment of Amazon boxes that I flattened out but just have never taken to the recycle. I'm also thinking about ordering some more of these sponges. I ordered only the low grit ones, and I really like them. Now I wish I had higher grit ones to really help with the polishing. Because these sanding sticks are nice, but I just very much prefer the feel of the sponges. Also, if you're wondering why I'm just kind of piling all the loose sprues up near the top, I'm trying to collect an assortment of like different colored like sprues just to kind of have them as like forbidden sprinkles, and then I could maybe do something with them later as like a way to recycle. Okay. Yeah. No. Like chicken and other like reptiles. Chicken and other reptiles. Jesus. Snake and other reptiles. Like I wouldn't be like too opposed to trying them out. I've heard a lot of really good things about like, I think it was crocodile or alligator. I know that there's a part of the Philippines that actually treats that as like a delicacy. And they actually cook the alligator or crocodile, whichever is local to the area, as like on a spit roast, kind of like you would like just a pig. And apparently, like that's considered a delicacy, and like I'd be down to try that. So that was D12, D8. Okay, D12, D8. What's that? That was that for that part. I in terms of like hobby stuff, right? I'm a weirdo, and like despite me doing Gunpla, I prefer doing a lot of the work of my painting by hand. That might not seem odd, but the usual for Gunpla, right, is to use... The usual for Gunpla is to use... What are they called? Airbrushes, right? And I have an airbrush and I have a compressor, but the act of setting them up in like 100-degree weather, because that's probably like the only time I get a chance to throughout the year to set it up, is like very much just a pain in the rear. Because I spend 30 minutes setting it up. I spend like another like 30 to 45 minutes cleaning up after I'm done using it. So that's also just a lot of time that I have to spend outside. Yeah. But I picked this up, and this is something that I want to mess around with a bit more. And this is just a cordless airbrush. And this isn't going to replace me doing hand painting, but essentially this right here is like just a cord charged like mini air compressor, right? And it's not going to get you any like crazy air pressure, right? But it's enough. It's enough to... Oh, whoops. It's enough to like do your base coats and your priming, right? And that's all I need. That's all I care about. So I'm gonna be giving this a shot. I do want to maybe do like little videos of like me trying like painting stuff. Oh yeah, no. Like I picked this up for like 30 USD. And I think that's fine. And this is exactly what I need it to do. I tried it with primer last night. Let me just grab the piece. Like, this is just something like I wanted to mess around with, like in terms of primer. And so like I didn't do any cleaning up on this piece at all, because I don't plan on using this for anything. And I just hit it with the primer, and it's freaking nice, right? So at some point I'm probably gonna like paint this up by hand just as like practice for like maybe some like, I don't know. I kind of regret not having the plume separate, but that's a problem for future Hermit when he practices painting on this. So I was able to get the even coat, and all of that looked fine and dandy. And in the end, like, it's doing exactly what I needed it to, so I'm happy with that purchase so far. Now it's just kind of on me to make sure that I keep it like fresh and clean. Okay, so how did they want this done again? Okay, so they want it like so. Okay, just like that. They wanted it like so. Okay, so far so good. Alright, yo, Shotty, get a good meal in. I'll catch you later, man. Okay. Okay. $11 and $6. Okay. back to shaving this off. Yeah, that felt much cleaner than last time. That reminds me, in terms of like card game stuff, I'm mostly done with my Grand Archive deck. I feel like there might be some like final changes and ratios I might need to mess around with. There's also some singles that I have somewhere around my house that I need to find, because by pure coincidence I own like a $30 PlaMo because I went to a convention in Canada like that one time 1 year ago, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be nice just to have in my that'd be just like a nice little addition to have in my deck, because I actually play the promo card. And it was a $30 PlaMo you got just for showing up to the booth. Okay. I don't know much about Grand Archive. I made what I would assume is like a really bad idea of just kind of building a deck based on what I thought were like good ideas in the moment. Because I probably talked about it before, but like I just spent like a day going over the card catalog, like what's in the game, and then just reading things that I thought were like probably good. Okay, hold on. So it's like so, and then this right here. Okay. Then it's like so, then this goes here. Okay. And then this. Like so. I believe like so. Okay. and the little thorn bit right there. Okay, and then here comes this part. Okay, so like that is fine. Then, oh, I forgot this X right here. Okay, I need to widen this one up a bit. Okay. On. Alright, perfect. That fit in like it was supposed to. Will I get this one? Yes, I will. Now, what about this one at the tip? Okay. Okay, this second wing has been going like way smoother. Way smoother than the last one. Okay. D7 and 1. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I had a entire tangent about Grand Archive, and like I just got so distracted. All right, or focused rather. I hyper focused. But yeah, so I spent a day just reading cards, right? And I know in terms of card games, I like playing Control because I find Control to be a interactive way to play a game, right? Instead of just like watching my opponent do their thing and then I do my thing, and then like the interaction is between us doing our things. Um, I kind of prefer like being able to have limited actions on my opponent's turn, right? Being able to react to what my opponent's doing, interrupting their game plan a little bit, and then seeing whether or not that they could play through the interruption, right? Which is a very like Yu-Gi-Oh kind of idea, like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't hate that Yu-Gi-Oh has that. I just feel Yu-Gi-Oh's gone a bit too far because now you have to have hand traps to deal with turn one boards. Board breakers are like insanely powerful because of like just how like important the turn one turn is in some cases. Like why bother interacting with your opponent when you could just blow up their board and then win the next turn? And granted, like these are like sweeping generalizations for a metagame that I don't participate in, right? It's just like I understand like there is nuance and there is depth to Yu-Gi-Oh, like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. It's just to some degree it's too much for me, and to another degree it's not what I would find fun about playing Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Which is why I kind of like other card games like Cardfight Vanguard. Cardfight Vanguard, I love the feel of Cardfight Vanguard. I would argue that Cardfight Vanguard is probably like my main game, and that's just with me playing standard. Like I haven't touched premium or V all that much. Like on my channel there was a pack opening because I got a bunch of stuff from a website called 50 Cards, and 50 Cards is just like a wonderful shop for like Shadowverse and Cardfight Vanguard stuff. Okay. But Grand Archive, as a game, I'm not sure too much about it. There's a lot that I want to try, and I wanted to pick a deck that was control based, right, where I can interact with my opponent on their turn and whatnot, and where I have a lot of like weird interactions. For example, the deck that I settled on is Wind Tristane, right? Tristan or Tristane is an assassin, and she has the effect that if she doesn't tap, like if she didn't, how do I put it? If she's standing upright, right? In Magic the Gathering, if she's untapped, at the end of the turn, she produces a preparation counter, right? And for the assassin stuff, there's a lot of things where like, oh, spend a preparation counter, gain an effect, right? Or spend a preparation counter, improve an effect, is usually how that goes. That's a bit better. Okay. So with that, like, I wanted to find a version of like assassin that could generate a bunch of like those preparation counters. That way I could have like more uptime on the more stronger version of those effects, right? For example, there's a card called Arrow Trap, and if you prepare Arrow Trap with a preparation counter, Arrow Trap's effect swaps from return target attacking creature to the top to your opponent's hand to destroy it, right? Or there's another one where, like, if you prepare this one attack, on top of it dealing its damage, you draw a card. Like, that stuff's good. I like that way of doing it. And the reason why I'm settling with like Winterstain is because it has the most preparation counter like effects that feel super impactful, while also having preparation counter like methods, right? So again, Tristain already has the if this card isn't rested, you get to generate a preparation counter, right? On top of that, there's a wind artifact that does the same thing, where if your thing isn't like rested, you generate a counter. So through the interaction of those two cards, I can generate 2 preparation counters every turn that I could then use to cash out on like enhanced effects, right? That was the thought process that like started the deck building, right? That was the thought process that went into like justifying the idea of playing a control themed deck, and the interaction that I felt would make it successful, right? So with that, I would be playing like Winterstain, playing in a controlling manner where I play cards that will remove my opponent's creatures, right? Cards that can protect my cards by removing them from play temporarily. Cards that I can use to deal with board threats, right? Now, granted, with all of that thinking, I've come to realize that not every deck is based around summoning creatures. Some of them are about like going face with your character, or dealing a lot of burst damage through like burn spells. So those are some things that I'm gonna have to think about the next time that I want to like kind of like modify this deck, right? Because right now it's kind of geared to deal with decks that create like board threats. 10, 4, 5. Okay. But not with those decks that don't really summon creatures all that often. 10, 4, 5. So I have no clue how well the deck is actually going to perform, especially with me as the pilot, because I don't have any experience with the card game aside from like playing 1 or 2 matches with trial decks. But this is still an experience that I want to have, and I've found a place that I could go to play, and I would be excited to do that. At least kind of like semi-regularly, right? I found my locals. I just haven't been there yet or interacted with anyone on the Discord. Because, you know, talking to people is hard. Even if it's going to be in a setting that, you know, you would hope that everyone would be like-minded. But I've had my own experiences with like 3 different locals that I've been to over the years. Some of those were like really wild. Oh man, like there's one that I kind of like remember very vividly of like we went to this locals you know, for like different reasons, right? I went there because like there was a community there and it seemed like a really chill place. And at the time, the group of friends I was hanging out with, we wanted a place where like we could play D&D, right? And they were like really chill with us showing up like one day to just play D&D. And then like we would just buy snacks while we were there. I'd buy like a booster pack or two of like whatever card game I was interested in. At the time I was trying to get back into Magic the Gathering, just kind of blindly, right? Like I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering Arena. I had some fun, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna blindly just build my Demir like pirate control deck, because like I had a lot of fun playing that online. And so like I was buying packs and my friends were buying snacks and we were playing D&D and everything was great. And like there's just like this one guy there, and again at the time the clientele over there was like pretty chill, and the guy comes up and everything seemed fine, and then like everyone like started to gasp because the dude had like, how do I put it, like puked all over the floor in front of the card cases, where they have like the display of all their like product and whatnot. The guy just dumped chow right there, and like they gave him a lot of water. Everyone was like very like concerned about this dude, and it was all because there was like a discount sushi shop like in the same like strip mall, and the guy was like, yo, cheap sushi, I'm all about it. Dude paid for it like immediately after. Okay. Okay. Oh, whoops. Okay. I had forgotten to plug my phone in this entire time. So like that was just like one of the more like unfortunate ones. Like there was no villain in that story, right? Like that was just like something that happened, right? And sadly that's not like the only kind of story that you can like run into at a locals, because again like there are people that just kind of suck, right? And these people that just kind of suck will show up in every community, in every hobby, and to some degree they'll take fun away from it or be just weird and not great to be around. And like people will try to like frame it as like, oh, it's just a generalized problem with X or Y community, when like in reality, you are more likely to remember a negative interaction than you are a positive one, or even a neutral experience, right? So, like, these negative experiences we have with these very specific individuals aren't indicative of like interacting with people on whole, but rather of like very specific interactions with like not the best people in a community period, right? So like whenever you see the thing of like, oh, all Yu-Gi-Oh players are smelly, right? Like, oh, I can't believe that there is a rule in the regionals that if you smell bad, because you don't shower, or you don't, you know, practice proper hygiene, you will be banned and escorted off the property. You know, like that's a very like wild thing. And yes, there's a reason why that rule exists, because there are people who break it, or people who have made the event of attending a locals or a regionals or a local game shop, or you know, whatever have you, a negative experience for others, right? So again, that rule isn't there for the majority, it's there for the few that are like negative standouts, right? So like I still remember like there was just this one weird interaction at one of the locals I went to, where like everyone was just kind of like having fun, and they were playing their games, right? And I had a friend who like he just wanted to try practicing a new deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, and so like he was just kind of like asking people like who were there, who had cards on them, if they wanted to play games, right? And like he asked this one dude like, hey, mind if I play a game? And the dude just got like really like weird about it, like, oh, I can't believe you're asking me to play a game, like just weird ego thing. And like I remember like at some point like he was like, okay, fine, I won't ask you. And then he asked like this girl that was like hanging out near the guy, hey, are you free to play a game? And then the guy talks for the girl, like she doesn't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh with you. Like what the fuck? Like okay, fine, but you don't have to talk for her. Like that was just really weird interaction. Again, not indicative of like the normal experience at a locals. This was like a one-time story of a guy I saw at my locals one time and like never again. And the guy, like, based on what I saw from when he was playing, he wasn't even like semi-competitive. And there's nothing wrong with being competitive, casual, or semi-competitive, right? But like when you have like an ego, right, and you don't play competitive, it just comes off as a little strange. Or like if you have a ego and you play like hyper competitive in a casual setting, that's also weird. Okay. There was also like some weird stuff, like people don't get along, right? You know, so sometimes like there are people who like are really cool to each other, but like the moment like a third person gets involved, like one of those three people becomes like a just not chill. And there could be like multiple reasons for it. right? But like there was just this one where like this one guy got it like a little bit of a bad rap because he's a bit of like a egotist, right? Dude's kind of chill, but like dude has an ego. And just like playing at this locals, the dude is like trying to make himself a like vendor, right? He's trying to live that vendor dream in Yu-Gi-Oh, even though like not necessarily there. So he's trying to do some air quote smart trading and whatnot. And he reached out to this one dude who had some stuff that he was like thinking about picking up. He looked at it and kind of like decided against it. Yo, what's up, Ven Builds? And like from what I saw in that situation, right? The guy that had a bit of an ego and a little bit of like a negative reputation, just a little bit of one because of his ego. The guy like put the binder down because at the end of the day, like he didn't want anything from the guy's binder, right? And just returned the binder and went on his merry way. The owner of the binder then went back to him and accused him of stealing an effect veiler at the time, right? And effect veiler in Yu-Gi-Oh, bit of a staple, comes up every now and again because of just how good it is. And like this situation is escalating to the point to where like the police got called to the store over Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? And like it wasn't like someone stole a binder. This was like an effect veiler, like one copy of effect veiler from someone's binder, just kind of escalating over the whole thing. And a lot of like he said she said was going on because these people just didn't get along. And like all these accusations kept blowing up about how the dude who's a little bit of an egotist, who wanted to live that vendor life, stole the dude's effect veilers and all that stuff, right? And it took like an hour for like this one dude to just kind of like finally like muster up the courage to say something. In that like the guy, a second guy looked at the binder and took out the effect veilers and told the owner of the binder that he wants to trade for the effect veilers and was waiting for the guy to like settle down so he could trade with him and proper. But because of that reputation of that the dude who wanted to be a vendor, and like the owner of the binder freaking out, the guy who wanted to do the trade was like intimidated out of it. So like that was just a whole thing that blew up for no reason over something like that. It's crazy shit. Okay, so okay. So, hold on. So it was something like... Okay, hold on. Yeah, at that time, I think that was around 2016, 2017. maybe 2018, somewhere in that like range. I think links were like still like kind of new. I think Boral Savage was like, not Boral Savage, Borolo Dragon was like one of the big like cards, and people were still waiting for something else to get banned. So I stuck with the game a bit longer than some people I knew. So, yeah. Honestly, it's not a bad silhouette. I need to get this thing on its stand so I could pose it properly. But honestly, that's looking pretty good for now. Yo, what's up, Ancient Arc? I'm technically done with the blue eyes. I just want to get it up on its stand. And then I'll be, like, more or less just done. Yeah, this is one really cool but extremely cursed model kit. Okay. Yeah, just gonna... So you missed out on it. But on my first stream of this model kit, this is a God Hand Nipper. Okay. These are a very well-known, and pretty expensive tool, right? And it's something that I have because I feel very committed to the hobby, right? That's my second one. Here's my first one that I broke on day one of this build. You can kind of see it in the center, how the blade is like cracked and bent. That's because of this kit. On days 2 and 3 of building this kit, I was having webcam issues. Yeah, I posted it on Twitter, and yeah, I took a lot of damage from the act of building this kit. A lot of it is just like pure coincidence and whatnot. So, like, I say cursed, but, like, in a more joking way. For example, this kit is extremely cursed, because in the process of building this kit, I went to the emergency room, to get my uvula checked out, because I one day woke up with a swollen uvula. And I'm all good. It was nothing like crazy. It was just, this is different. This isn't normal. I should probably get this checked out before it becomes something problematic. So just in the process of starting to build this kit and to finishing it today, a lot has gone wrong. Yes, which is very ironic because I don't like the Blue Eyes White Dragon as a deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! And have talked
mad shit about the deck for years. So of course it would bite me in the bum.
Okay. Let's see. They were talking about 27, 28. Okay. Yeah, Curse of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Okay. $29. There's... it's so hard to see some of these. 29. 23. And they said 23. 22, 23. The heck? Okay. So how do they want to do this? What the heck? Okay, hold on. So this is 27. They want this locking like so, like a sprocket gear cog thing. Oh Lord, wait, hold on. Wait. Okay. So it's supposed to be like this. And then... oh, okay, I think I see how this is supposed to work now. Okay. So then these clip together. Except I screwed up. Crazy. Okay. Just gotta... Okay. So this is locked. Move this down. Unlock. Okay, cool. So this little lever right here, there's like a little nub at the bottom, and if you push this up, it locks between the like little gear bits, locking the bottom part, right? But by pulling down, you knock the little peg out, and now it articulates. Now it's locked at the same. Okay, that's cool. All right. And then they wanted me to make 2 of these. Yeah, they wanted me to make 2 of these. $26 and $25. Okay. Then that's another 29, 23. 29, 23. Yep. And then it'll be a similar mechanism that goes like so. This goes like so. Okay. This can go prop. Actually, probably want it like that. That way the locks are in the same spots. Okay. And then ACB 17 or 19, right? 17, 13, 17, 13, or 19. Okay, I see how they want to do it. So and then you just put this between the little notches. And you can just kind of adjust it to get how you want it. Then you would want something like this. So probably have this at an angle like so. Having this to lock in place. And then this like that. Okay. And then 421. It definitely could poke someone's eye out. Okay. So this would go here. This would probably go in like that. Again, we want to adjust this to maybe be like this. If we're thinking of something maybe a bit more simple in terms of a pose. Okay, that's looking good. And 12. Okay. Okay. Need that as the adapter, and the adapter point is still in the box. Is this part right here. Okay. And if I remember correctly, I believe it's this part that comes out. This part goes back in. And then Okay. So with that, just gonna pop open an empty folder real quick and try to get this on camera. It's gonna be a bit weird, but there's a couple of different ways we can go about posing this, because there's a part for having the stand go in the back. I opted for the part that has the stand going in the front. But that's more or less that. So I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I'll see you guys next time. It's finally over. Okay. As for the owner of this kit, I'm sure they'll stop by eventually. Yeah. And I'll probably talk to them about posing it a bit more in detail when they're here to pick it up in person. They also ordered a bunch of like Yu-Gi-Oh cards since they still play the game, and yeah, one of these days, probably like next weekend, they could come pick it up, and I'll like run them down on like how to do the posing and all that. But for now, I will catch you all later. Thank you for stopping by. All right.